Do-hyun Kim stared out the large window of Earth's orbital diplomatic station. The blue planet below looked peaceful from up here. He straightened his dark blue uniform and checked his reflection in the window. At 28 years old, he was one of the youngest diplomats on the station, and today was important. "Stop fixing your hair, Do-hyun," said Ara Lee, walking up behind him. "The aliens don't care what you look like." Ara was his senior by 10 years and never missed a chance to tease him. "I just want to make a good impression," Do-hyun said. "It's not every day we meet with the Stellar Confederation's main representative." The year was 2157, and Earth had just joined the Stellar Confederation 3 months ago. Humans were the new kids in space, trying to prove they belonged among the stars. The meeting room doors slid open with a soft hiss. Do-hyun's heart jumped when he saw who entered. The alien diplomat Navi walked in, her silver skin gleaming under the lights. She looked almost human, except for her metallic skin and completely black eyes. She wore what looked like flowing water made into cloth. "Welcome to the Earth Orbital Diplomatic Station," Do-hyun said, bowing slightly. "I'm Diplomat Do-hyun Kim, and this is Senior Diplomat Ara Lee." Navi looked around the room slowly. Her black eyes settled on the coffee maker in the corner. "How quaint," she said. "You still need chemicals to stay alert. My species moved past that limitation 3,000 years ago." Do-hyun kept his polite smile. "Would you like to sit down? We can discuss the trade agreements." "Of course," Navi said, gliding to a chair. "Though I wonder if your species can understand the complex mathematics involved in interstellar trade calculations. You've only had computers for what, a century?" Ara's smile became tight, but Do-hyun stayed calm. He had read about Navi's species, the Luminary. They were one of the oldest races in the Confederation, with technology that seemed like magic to humans. "We may be young," Do-hyun said, "but we learn quickly. Our AI systems have already adapted to your trading protocols." Navi made a sound like tinkling bells. Do-hyun realized she was laughing. "Adapted? Your eye is like a child's toy compared to our systems. But it's cute. How hard you try." For the next 2 hours, they discussed trade routes and safety protocols. Every time Do-hyun or Ara made a point, Navi had a sarcastic comment ready. She called their ships adorable little boats trying to swim in space, and referred to Earth's defense systems as charming attempts at security. Do-hyun kept his cool, but he could see Ara getting angry. Her hands were tight on her tablet, and her jaw was clenched. "And these emotion-based decisions you make," Navi said, waving her hand. "How do you get anything done when you're all so busy feeling things? It's like watching children try to build a house while having temper tantrums." Something in Do-hyun snapped, not in anger, but in understanding. He stood up slowly. "Diplomat Navi," he said, his voice firm but kind. "Our emotions aren't our weakness. They're our strength. Those feelings you mock. They're why we survived on a planet that tried to kill us millions of times. They're why we looked at the stars and said we're going there, even when we had no idea how. They're why we didn't give up after our first rockets exploded, our first Mars colony failed, or our first contact with aliens almost started a war." Navi's black eyes widened slightly. Do-hyun continued, his voice growing passionate but not angry. "We feel deeply, yes. We cry, we laugh, we get angry, we fall in love. And every single one of those emotions taught us something. They pushed us to do better, to be better. Our art, our music, our stories, they all come from those feelings you think are so primitive. Even our science is driven by emotional questions like what if and why not? And how can we make this better?" The room was completely silent. Even Ara was staring at him in surprise. "So yes, Diplomat Navi, we make decisions based on emotions sometimes. But those emotions also gave us empathy, which helps us understand other species. They gave us curiosity, which drives us to learn about your culture even when you mock ours. They gave us determination, which is why we're sitting here today, talking as equals in the Confederation despite being centuries behind you technologically. Do-hyun sat back down, his heart pounding. He had probably just ruined his career. First-year diplomats weren't supposed to lecture senior Confederation representatives. But Navi wasn't angry. She was sitting very still, her head tilted slightly to one side. For the first time since she arrived, there was no sarcasm in her voice when she spoke. "Fascinating," she said quietly. "You actually believe every word you just said." "I don't just believe it," Do-hyun replied. "I feel it. And that's the point." Navi stood up suddenly. "This meeting is over for today," she announced. But instead of leaving immediately, she paused and looked at Do-hyun. "I will require more discussions about these emotions tomorrow, same time. Only Diplomat Kim needs to attend." After she left, Era let out a long breath. "Well," she said, "either you just got promoted or fired. I can't tell which." Do-hyun looked at the door where Navi had gone. Just before she left, he could have sworn he saw something in those black eyes, something that looked almost like longing. "Neither can I," he said, "but I think we're about to find out something important about the luminary." Outside the window, Earth continued its slow spin below them. Tomorrow would bring either disaster or discovery. But isn't that what emotions were all about? Facing the unknown with hope instead of fear. Do-hyun smiled. Whatever happened tomorrow, he had spoken his truth. And sometimes, that was the most diplomatic thing you could do. The next morning, Do-hyun found someone waiting outside his office. A woman in a white lab coat was reading something on her tablet. "You must be Diplomat Kim," she said, looking up. "I'm Jae-hyun Park, Earth's top expert on alien cultures. Senior Diplomat Lee asked me to help you." Do-hyun smiled with relief. After yesterday's meeting with Navy, he needed all the help he could get. "Please come in, Dr. Park." Inside his office, Jae-hyun went straight to business. "I watched the recording of yesterday's meeting," she said. "Something's not right about Navy's behavior." "You mean besides all the sarcasm?" Do-hyun asked. "The sarcasm is exactly what's strange," Jae-hyun said. She showed him her tablet. "Look at these records. The luminary aren't known for sarcasm or any kind of emotional display. They're famous for being cold and logical. But Navi," she paused. "Navy is acting different." Before they could discuss more, Do-hyun's computer screen lit up. It was a message from Navi's assistant, Lyra. Unlike Navi, Lyra had golden skin instead of silver, and her black eyes seemed warmer somehow. "Diplomat Kim," Lyra said, smiling. "Diplomat Navi has some questions she'd like answered before today's meeting. She wants to know about human entertainment, specifically something called romance movies and love songs." Do-hyun and Jae-hyun looked at each other in surprise. These were strange questions from a species that claimed emotions were primitive. "Of course," Do-hyun said. "We'll prepare some information." After Lyra signed off, Jae-hyun sat down heavily. "Now I'm sure something's going on. The Luminary have never shown interest in human entertainment before. They call it wasteful emotional indulgence." They spent the next few hours gathering information. Commander Han, the military liaison, stopped by to check on them. "Be careful," Commander Han warned. "Other alien species are watching this closely. Some of them don't like how much attention the Luminary are paying to humans lately." Do-hyun nodded, but his mind was on the upcoming meeting. When Navi arrived, she seemed different. Her usual sarcasm was still there, but it felt forced. "So," she said, sitting down, "tell me about these love songs. Why do humans waste time singing about their mating rituals?" "They're not just about mating," Do-hyun explained. "Love songs express deep emotional connections between people. They help us share feelings that are hard to put into regular words." "And these feelings are important?" Navy asked. For a moment, her voice lost its sarcastic edge. "Very important," Jae-hyun said gently. "They help us connect with each other. They remind us we're not alone." Navi was quiet for a long time. "Show me," she finally said. Do-hyun played a simple love song. It was an old one, about missing someone so much it hurt. As the music played, he watched Navi carefully. Her silver face was hard to read, but her hands were gripping her chair tightly. "And all humans can feel this way?" she asked when the song ended. "Most of us," Do-hyun said, "though we all feel things differently." "How primitive," Navi said, but her voice shook slightly. "Next, show me these romance movies." They spent hours watching clips from different movies. Every time characters showed strong emotions, Navi made sarcastic comments. But Do-hyun noticed she never looked away from the screen. Later that day, after Navi left, Do-hyun decided to work late. He was walking through the station's quiet halls when he heard sounds from one of the observation rooms. Looking inside, he saw something that made him stop. Navi was there, alone in the dark. On the large screen in front of her, a human romance movie was playing. She wasn't making sarcastic comments now. She was just watching, her black eyes reflecting the light from the screen. Do-hyun quietly backed away. But as he walked to his quarters, his mind was racing. Why would an advanced alien who claimed to be above emotions spend her free time watching human love stories? The next morning, Ara had big news. "You won't believe what I found," she said, rushing into his office. "I was looking through old Confederation records. 3,000 years ago, when the Luminary made their big technological leap forward, something else happened. They lost something." "Lost what?" Do-hyun asked. "The records aren't clear. But right after they advanced their technology, all their art disappeared. Their music, their stories, everything that had to do with emotions. It all stopped. It's like they gave up their feelings for progress." Jae-hyun, who had been listening, suddenly stood up. "That's it. That's why Navi is so interested in human emotions. That's why she watches our movies and asks about our songs." "But why the sarcasm?" Commander Han asked from the doorway. He had come in just in time to hear them. "Because it's the only emotion she knows how to show," Do-hyun said quietly. "It's safer to mock feelings than to admit you want them back." Suddenly, all their computers blinked with an urgent message. Other members of the Stellar Confederation were calling for an emergency meeting. The subject, concerning relations between humans and Luminary. Do-hyun looked at his friends. Something big was about to happen. And somehow, human emotions were at the center of it all. Outside his window, Earth kept spinning. But now its blue color reminded him of tears. Were they about to discover the price the Luminary had paid for their progress? And more importantly, could humans help them get back what they had lost? As if answering his thoughts, his computer chimed with a private message. It was from Navi, and it contained just 4 words. "I need your help." Do-hyun stared at Navi's message for a long time. "I need your help." Before he could reply, his office door slid open. Commander Han rushed in, his face serious. "The emergency meeting starts in 1 hour, Commander Han said. "The other alien species are worried. They say the Luminary are spending too much time studying humans. They think we're a bad influence." Jae-hyun looked up from her research tablet. "Bad influence? We're just sharing our culture." "That's the problem," Era said, walking in. "Some species think our emotions make us dangerous. And now the Luminary, one of the most powerful species in space, are suddenly very interested in human feelings." Do-hyun's computer chimed again. Another message from Navi. "Meet me in Observation Room 7. Come alone. Please." He had never heard a Luminary say please before. "I have to go," he said, standing up. "Keep working on those old records. Find out exactly what happened to the Luminary 3,000 years ago." Observation Room 7 was in a quiet part of the station. When Do-hyun walked in, he found Navi standing by the window. Earth's moon was rising over the planet below. "Your moon affects your oceans," Navi said without turning around. "It pulls at your waters, creating tides. We used to have poetry about how the moons pulled at our hearts too. Her voice was different. No sarcasm, just sadness. Used to? Do-hyun asked softly. Navi turned to face him. In the dim light, her silver skin looked almost like tears. 3,000 years ago, my people made a choice. We found a way to make our brains work better, faster. We could solve any math problem, build amazing machines, understand the deepest secrets of space. But there was a cost. You lost your emotions, Do-hyun said. We thought we were making the right choice. Emotions seemed messy, inefficient. We didn't realize they were connected to everything. Our art, our music, our ability to truly connect with each other. Navy's black eyes met his. Do you know we can't even feel love anymore? We understand it as a concept, but we can't feel it. We forgot how. Do-hyun took a step closer. But you're different. You make jokes, even if they're sarcastic. You watch romance movies. You ask about feelings. I'm what my people call defective, Navi said. Something went wrong when they changed my brain. I can feel echoes, like seeing colors in a dark room. Not the full feelings, but something. Enough to know what we lost. Suddenly, alarms started blaring through the station. Red lights flashed in the hallway. Emergency meeting in 5 minutes, a voice announced. All diplomatic staff report to the main conference room. They're going to stop this, Navi said quickly. The other species. They're afraid. We're the most advanced species in the Confederation, but now we're acting illogically because of humans. Because of you. Because of what you found in us. Do-hyun corrected. My people are starting to ask questions. Why can't we make art like humans do? Why don't we have music? What did we give up? Navy's voice grew urgent. Some of us want to find a way back to our emotions, but the other species think that would make us unstable, dangerous. What do you want? Do-hyun asked. I want to feel again. Really feel, not just these echoes. And I think humans can help us find a way back. Navy reached out and touched Do-hyun's hand. Her silver fingers were warm. Your species went to the stars because you felt wonder when you looked up. You make art because you feel beauty. You help strangers because you feel kindness. We lost all of that, and I want it back. The alarms kept blaring. They were running out of time. The emergency meeting, Do-hyun said. What will happen? They'll try to limit contact between humans and Luminary. Maybe even remove Earth from the Confederation. Navy's hand tightened on his. Unless. Unless what? Unless we show them they're wrong. Show them that emotions aren't a weakness, but a strength. Show them what we lost and what we could gain back. For the first time, Navi smiled. A real smile, not a sarcastic one. Will you help me? Before Do-hyun could answer, his communicator buzzed. It was Ja-hyun. Do-hyun, we found it, she said excitedly. The old records. The Luminary didn't just lose their emotions. They stored them. They saved their feelings in some kind of databanks before they changed their brains. They thought they might want them back someday. Where are these databanks? Do-hyun asked. That's the problem, Ja-hyun said. They're lost. The Luminary became so logical, they decided storing emotional data was pointless. They abandoned the storage stations centuries ago. Navy's black eyes widened. Not lost, she whispered. Hidden. I know where they are. But I need human help to access them. Your emotions might be the key to unlocking our old feelings. The station's speakers crackled. Emergency meeting beginning in 1 minute. Do-hyun looked at Navy, then at Earth glowing below them. His species had just joined the galactic community. Everything they had worked for could be lost if he made the wrong choice. But then he remembered what he had said in that first meeting. Humans made decisions with their emotions sometimes. And right now, his heart was telling him that helping the Luminary find their feelings again was more important than playing it safe. Okay, he said. I'll help you. But first, we have to survive this meeting. Navi nodded. As they walked quickly toward the conference room, she spoke softly. "You know what's strange? When I think about getting our emotions back, I feel something. Something warm and bright, and a little scary." "That's hope," Do Hyun said. "You're feeling hope." They'd reached the conference room doors. Inside, representatives from a dozen alien species waited to decide the fate of human luminary relations. But now they had a secret weapon. The truth about what the luminary had lost, and a way to get it back. Do Hyun took a deep breath. It was time to show the galaxy that emotions weren't a weakness. They were the greatest strength any species could have. The main conference room was filled with representatives from every major species in the Stellar Confederation. Do Hyun saw tall, tree-like beings from the forest worlds, floating gas creatures in special containers, and many others he couldn't even describe. At the head of the table sat the council leader, who looked like a giant crystal that changed colors as it spoke. "This emergency meeting will now begin," the council leader announced, turning a deep blue color. "We are here to discuss the troubling relationship between humans and the luminary." Commander Han sat with the other military representatives, while Era and Jae-yun joined the cultural affairs section. Do Hyun took his place next to Navi at the diplomatic table. A representative that looked like a cloud of purple smoke spoke first. "The humans are disrupting the balance of our confederation. The luminary are acting strangely because of them. This must stop." "Strange." Navy stood up. For the first time, everyone heard her speak without sarcasm. "Is it strange to want back something that was stolen from us?" The room went quiet. Even the floating gas beings stopped moving. 3,000 years ago, Navy continued, "My people made a terrible mistake. We thought emotions made us weak, so we removed them. But we were smart enough to save them first." She looked around the room. "Those emotions still exist, stored in hidden databanks. And now we want them back." The council leader turned a surprised yellow color. "Is this true?" Do Hyun stood up next to Navi. "Dr. Park, please share what you found in the old records." Jae-yun connected her tablet to the room's main screen. Ancient luminary documents appeared, showing the massive project that had changed their brains and stored their emotions. "The luminary didn't just throw away their feelings," Jae-yun explained. "They saved them, thinking they might need them again someday. But after the change, they became so logical that they forgot why emotions mattered." The purple smoke being swirled angrily. "This is exactly our concern. If the luminary regain emotions, they could become unpredictable. With their advanced technology, they could be dangerous." "No," Do Hyun said firmly. "You don't understand emotions at all. They don't make you weaker or more dangerous. They make you stronger, wiser." He walked to the center of the room. "Emotions gave humans art, music, and poetry. But they also gave us empathy, which helps us make peace. They gave us curiosity, which drives our science. They gave us hope, which keeps us going when things are hard." Eris stood up too. "Look at Earth's history. Our greatest achievements didn't come from pure logic. They came from emotional dreams backed by rational thinking. We went to space because we felt wonder when we looked at the stars. We cure diseases because we feel compassion for those who are sick. We make peace because we feel love for our children and want them to have a better future." The council leader turned a thoughtful green color. "Luminary representative, what do you say to this?" Navy's voice was clear and strong. "I ask the council to approve a joint human luminary project. Let us work together to recover our emotions. Let us learn from humans how to balance feelings with logic." She paused. "I also have a personal request. I ask to be the first luminary to undergo the process of emotional recovery, with Diplomat Kim as my guide." The room burst into loud discussion. Some representatives seemed afraid, others curious. The council leader shifted through several colors before settling on a calm blue. "This is a serious matter," the leader said. "We will need time to consider." "Wait," called a musical voice. Everyone turned to see Lyra, Navy's assistant, standing up. I have something to show you. Lyra pressed a button, and the room's screens filled with images. They showed luminary from all over the Confederation watching human art, listening to Earth music, reading human stories. Thousands of them, in secret, trying to feel again. It's already happening, Lyra said. We're all trying to remember how to feel. Humans aren't causing this. They're just showing us what we lost, what we need. The council leader turned a deep purple, the color of decision. We will vote. The next few minutes were tense as each species cast their vote. Du-hyun held his breath. Next to him, Navi was perfectly still, but he could feel her hoping. Finally, the council leader announced the results. By a small majority, the council approves the Human Luminary Emotional Recovery Project. We also approve Diplomat Navy's personal request, with conditions. The process must be carefully monitored, and all findings must be shared with the council. The room slowly emptied as the representatives left. Soon only Du-hyun, Navi, and their friends remained. So, Du-hyun said to Navi, no more sarcastic comments about primitive humans. Navi's silver face showed a real smile. Oh, I might keep a few. They're quite fun, actually. But now I can learn to mean them as jokes between friends, not as shields to hide behind. 6 months later, Du-hyun stood with Navi in front of an ancient luminary databank. They had found it on a forgotten moon, just where Navi remembered it being hidden. The machine hummed softly, ready to begin the process of emotional recovery. Are you scared? He asked her. Terrified, she said, and excited, and hopeful. I'm feeling so many things already. She turned to him. Thank you for helping me find my way back to feelings. You always had them, Du-hyun said. You just needed someone to show you it was okay to feel them. As the machine began its work, Du-hyun thought about how far they had come. Humans had joined the stars hoping to prove they belonged there. Instead, they had helped one of the oldest species in space remember something important. That true strength comes not from removing emotions, but from learning to feel them wisely. Outside the window, stars twinkled in the darkness. Somewhere out there, Earth was spinning, still teaching its oldest lesson, that hearts and minds work best when they work together. And in that room, as Navi began her journey back to feeling, her first real laugh echoed off the walls. It sounded like hope. It sounded like the future. It sounded like healing. It sounded, Du-hyun thought with a smile, perfectly human.